Hello and welcome to Rebirth of the Night Survival Tips and Tricks Part 2, Basic Base Building Edition. Today we are going to learn more about base building, base management, and how to effectively defend against the waves of enemies you will encounter in Rebirth of the Night version 2.77.1. In our last video we talked about why a wooden hut won't save you from monsters, so let's explore some popular base types, their pros and cons, and some basic designs to inspire your creativity. Our first base type is the sky base. As you can probably guess, the sky base is a base located off the ground, typically over 20 blocks away from the highest point to help prevent detection from the mobs on the ground. If they detect you, the zombies will pillar almost endlessly to get to you, and destroy almost any blocks on the way. Fortunately, they cannot climb ladders, but they will destroy them, so be sure to keep a few on you when you leave your base. Some of the pros of sky bases are that they are very defensible, as anything that manages to make it up to you can easily be knocked down. This can of course be prevented by building even higher than 20 blocks, but 20 is pretty decent at preventing detection, so the only real limitation is your patience and building materials. Sky bases also do not limit your ability to progress when crafting necessary tools from Better with Mods. As you can see here, I have a compact windmill, millstone, saw, and cooking cauldron set up in a pretty compact space. While you need to spend building materials to lay the foundation for your base, you will find that it is much easier to survive in a sky base rather than on the ground. Personally, I find sky bases a little cheesy and not in the spirit of the pack, but if you're really struggling with base defense and invasions, give the sky base a try. Another pro of the sky base is that invasions are much easier to deal with, as you can designate a specific area to bolster your defenses and lure the invaders in to fight there, as invasion mobs always know where you are without detection, and will always spawn near you rather than in common areas. Some of the cons of sky bases are that they can be very tricky to build relatively quickly, especially if you are new to the pack and aren't yet aware of how dangerous mobs really are. And sky bases do pose a fall risk. A well-placed arrow from a skeleton can dismount you from a ladder, or knock you off your perch if you are low enough. A harpy can pick you up and drop you right off your base, and terrors will be very annoying when they peck at you and knock you back. Here's a 4-minute clip condensed to about 30 seconds of me providing minimal resistance against an invasion. This is more to showcase what an early game invasion looks like and how difficult it was for the invaders to get to me in a low height sky base. As you can see, the zombies have already pillared up to me and are already trying to break the glass I am standing on to watch the invasion. Skeletons are firing arrows from all sides and terrors are trying to swat me off my perch. The other invaders have tracked me down and are coming up en masse to take me out. They break the glass beneath me and boom, I'm on the ground. Obviously your sky base will be better defended than this, but this should give you an idea of how quick they are to locate you and find their own solution to get to you. It is also worth noting that if you are extremely high off the ground, invader mobs of all types will spawn in any light to get to you. That means inside your base if you're too high off the ground. Building close to the ground gives you the high ground in this circumstance. For survivability, I give the sky base 5 out of 5 haunches. I also give the sky base 5 out of 5 haunches for cheese tactics, as it's almost too easy to survive this way. Next up on our list is the typical walled ground base. The walled ground base is the most common base type, and rightfully so, as it does fairly well against most mobs, has higher convenience than the sky base, and is typically easier to maintain and update. Walled ground bases are easily modified and repaired, but they are going to get beat up a little bit more during invasions. However, one of the perks of ground bases is freedom of movement, which means you can dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge your way to safety. Be warned, however, if you run too far from your current invasion mobs, more will spawn all around you, so your best bet is to fight them off. Invasion nights last half as long as normal nights, so you won't need to fight for the full night length. The walled base is easily the most flexible base, as you can easily make modifications on the fly, dig trenches, add traps, and defend from atop your wall. The walled ground base is my personal favorite, as there are many ways to make it work for you, while still being aesthetically pleasing. Here's a 2-minute clip condensed to about 30 seconds of an invasion breaking in and taking me down with minimal defense on my part. As mentioned with the sky base, this is more to showcase what invasions do, and the general sturdiness of the base, which obviously is not fantastic in its current state, but that is going to lead us into our next topic here. Traps, defenses, and basic base building mechanics. Let's start with some basic base building mechanics. This is going to be a short section, as I don't want this video to be a step-by-step process on how to build your base, but rather a basic concept that you can build off of and apply your own creativity that works for you. Spiders are notorious for climbing walls and roofs to get at you, but a simple single slab placed on the outside topmost block of your wall will prevent them from getting over. However, keep in mind they will still occasionally hit you through that single slab, so it is not unwise to double the slab, or just use a full block. A double thick slab will also drown anything mounted on the spider as well, so that's an extra plus. Creepers are going to be a constant issue in Rebirth, as their AI has been buffed with some considerable changes. For example, they will blow up if they detect you on the other side of a wall from pretty much any direction. Making sure your base is around 10 to 20 blocks away from your wall is a great way to prevent this, as well as making sure your wall is 2 blocks thick, or creating a moat or trench to keep them from sitting against the wall and potentially detecting you. Zombies will regularly spawn with picks of varying qualities, giving them the ability to pound down the same blocks that you can. Zombies will also notify other zombies of nearby light, and while they may not detect you specifically, they will detect the light from your base and then get inside to try to destroy it, which will lead them directly to you. A moat or trench is one of the best tools for keeping creatures away from your wall, and makes it easier to protect. Filling that moat with water, lava, or mud makes it even more effective, but also more difficult to maintain, as a broken block can create a destructive lava spill. Now that we have discussed some basic building techniques, let's move on to traps. There are a variety of traps available to craft in Rebirth of the Night that are instrumental in your survival against the onslaught of creatures trying to break down your base. Here I have set up a little display of the traps you can craft, and I'll show you what they can do. First, we've got fans and flamers. Fan blocks and flamer blocks are extremely effective at damaging and repositioning anything in front of them. Fans will push anything placed in front of it, including dropped items, 6 blocks away from itself, and flamers will produce a flame spout that burns anything placed within 6 blocks of the front. A small wall of these, powered by redstone torches, are extremely effective in defending a specific area, although they can be costly to make. Their effectiveness is limited only by your planning. Next, we have caltrops, barbed wire fences, and razor wire. Caltrops are an easy to craft item that you place on the ground that damage anything that steps on them for minimal damage. They do not take durability damage, but can be broken by mobs destroying the block they are placed on. Barbed wire is an area denial block that slows and damages all enemies caught in it, but it can still be passed through very slowly. Barbed wire fences prevent anything from crossing them while damaging enemies, but they can be destroyed. Razor wire is the improved version of barbed wire with much more damage to mobs caught in it, but like barbed wire can still be crossed slowly. As you can see here, the mobs are pushed into the barbed wire fence by the fans, set on fire by the flamers, and are stuck against the fence with a razor wire cap to prevent spiders from getting over too easily. Here I've lined up the traps you can place on the ground, so let's take a look at what they do. The piston trap brings up anything that steps on it about 6 blocks in the air. Not enough to cause much fall damage, but repositioning enemies is a good step in the right direction in base defense. Next, we have the flamer trap that sets the unsuspecting enemy on fire for a short amount of time. Next, we have the fume trap that infects its victim with nausea 2 and hunger 2. This trap is more effective against players than mobs. Next up is the ailing trap, which hits the affected mob with a short bout of blindness. Also more effective against players than mobs. The portal trap repositions enemies some distance away from the trap, but I haven't determined if there is a pattern to the teleporting. Use with caution. The ambush trap spawns a number of hostile mobs to fight whatever trips the trap, but this is surely more useful for PvP than PvE. The spectral trap does no damage, but it does cause the affected mob to be visible through all surfaces. It is important to note that the traps that I've shown you here so far are only good for a one-time use, and must be crafted again in order to be used again. The clam trap is a single-use, one-time bear trap that slows the unsuspecting mob and also deals a little bit of damage. The bear trap is a reusable, no-reset trap that stops enemies in place, deals damage over time, and can be escaped by jumping out of it. This is a much better option than the clam trap, as it is always active, does not need to be reset, and is quite effective against mobs. The last 2 traps are poison nails and nails. Poison nails deal quick damage and inflicts poison on the target, while the standard nails just deal small ticks of damage pretty quickly. One of my favorite mods in this pack is Better with Mods, and it allows you to make some pretty amazing contraptions. Be sure to explore everything this pack has to offer and come up with some amazing designs to keep yourself thriving in the unforgiving world of Rebirth of the Night. If you've got some base designs you like, feel free to share them with me in the Rebirth of the Night Discord server, as we have many members contributing awesome designs and screenshots, as well as other tutorials and guides made by prominent community members. The link for the Discord will be in the description below, as well as the link to download the mod pack. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was informative and you learned something new today. If you liked what you saw here and want to see more, subscribe to see more content, and ring the bell to be notified when I post. As a small disclaimer, Rebirth of the Night is a mod pack still well in development, so don't be totally surprised when things change, and this information may not be 100% accurate with future updates. Thanks for watching.